Psalm 119, verse 52. Zacharti mishpatecha me'olam Adonai, va'et necham. We begin today's video with the call perfect 1CS of the root zachar, which means to remember. With the perfect 1CS, we would say something like, I have remembered, and that is a very nice strong verb right there. I just noticed that and want to point it out. That looks just like the paradigm of whatever you learned for the strong verbs, so that's a very nice one. I have remembered mishpatecha, your judgments. Notice the 2ms suffix, as we've seen so many times before in Psalm 119 on mishpat. So that's a good old strong noun as well, if you want to think about the nouns as having strength. So that one's straightforward, very nice. I have remembered your judgments. Next, we get a men preposition. Notice the men points with the sere in front of a guttural that will reject the dagesh of the noon of the men. So we have from, and then we have olam, which is very often understood to be eternity if we're thinking about eternity future or future time. But here we get the preposition from, which would indicate, I think, antiquity. So something of the past eternity. Same word, same concept, but with from, it kind of puts us the other direction on the timeline. So we would have something like, I have remembered your judgments from antiquity, or from of old, you might see. And then we get, O Lord, as the vocative. Now, the next one here, I'm going to make a little space. The next one here we have is the hithpael imperfect 1CS, notice the olive performative, of the root nacham, to take comfort. The thing I want to show you here is that the vav is pointing like the definite article. What that means is this is indeed a vav consecutive. Now, in poetry, we don't typically think about vav consecutives functioning exactly the same way. But what we get here, I think, with the vav consecutive is it can either be temporal succession, which we see very often in narrative, and then, and then, and then, or the vav can also function as logical succession, which is, I think, how it's functioning here. In other words, I have remembered your judgments from antiquity, O Lord, and therefore logically I have been comforted, or I have taken comfort, from the root nacham. So it's an interesting use there of the vav consecutive here in the middle of Psalm 119 to, I think, draw a logical conclusion from what came previously.